Yeah, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's going on? So I just watched an interview with Bob Arum on Fight Hype, and they asked him a few different questions. Talked about Shakur Stevenson and his upcoming fight, a possible matchup with him and Lomachenko. Talked about Devin Haney and his potential rematch with George Kambosos, and other things that could be possible for Devin Haney. But one of the interesting topics, of course, Errol "The Truth Spence" Jr. versus Terence "Bud" Crawford came up in that interview. And with Bob Arum having history with Terence Crawford, Terence Crawford was essentially signed with Top Rank for his entire professional career. Having dealings with PBC, Al Heyman, meeting ERROL Spence face to face. We all seen that. Bob Arum gave his 2 cents on the situation, the potential upcoming fight, Undisputed, 2 undefeated guys, the 2 top 3 guys in the world in the sport of boxing. I believe the winner of this fight is #1 pound for pound in the sport of boxing. No question about it, no debate. In my opinion, whoever wins that fight, they #1, period. This is a fight that the fans been wanting to see for at least 3 to 4 years now. And it's just one of those fights that for hardcore fans, it's like the holy grail. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those fights where, one of those rare situations where you see the 2 top dogs, and they both killers, and they both dogs, and they both got that alpha energy, and neither one of them gonna lay down in the ring, and neither one of them gonna fold. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those fights, and then you couple that with the fact that these guys are superior in the skills department to everybody else. You dig what I'm saying? They're both at the height of their game, and it's just a perfect time. And then on top of all of that I just said, it's for Undisputed. All the belts on the line. I mean, it really couldn't get no sweeter than this. It's a huge fight, to say the least. So, with all that being said, Bob Arum, he says that, they asked him, what you think about that fight, what you think about it being held up, because we still haven't gotten an announcement on a date, a venue. There's been rumors and ideas thrown out there on what may be taking place behind the scenes, but nothing has been solidified. We know that ERROL Spence wants to fight. We know Terence Crawford wants to fight. We know that they are actually actively in conversation and negotiating this fight and trying to get it done. But Bob Arum brought up a couple of things that could possibly be holding up this fight, saying that it's such a huge fight in the eyes of the hardcore boxing fans. Now, this fight is one of those fights that has reached a level to where it has piqued casual fan interest, but it's not Mayweather-Pacquiao where you gonna get casuals just buying into this shit. Like, there's no huge story behind it. As far as on a casual scale, there's not a big enough story behind this shit to where the casuals just gonna fall in love and just open up their pocketbooks and hand over their money. You dig what I'm saying? No matter what, even if streaming the fight is an option, they, Floyd McGregor, it's a story. It's like and it's Floyd Mayweather on top of that. Like, that pay-per-view, that's what he do. Selling himself, that's what he do. Putting on big events and great spectacles and shit, that's what he did. That was his calling card. But these guys are just simply not that. Even though this fight right here, in my opinion, is a better fight, just stylistically and skill-wise, it's a more competitive fight. It's a better fight than Mayweather and Pacquiao, or Mayweather-McGregor, or even Mayweather-Canelo. You dig what I'm saying? This, in my opinion, is a better fight. It's a more quality fight in the terms of skills, competition, styles, and it's for Undisputed. So all of these different characteristics of this fight is what make it what it is. But even with all that being said, it's still not on the level where it draws in a mass amount of casual fans. And that's what Bob Arum was talking about in, you know, as far as one of the reasons why it's held up, because he's saying as big of a fight that this is, and it is a big fight, the two fighters, they want to get paid like it's a big fight, right? Errol Spence gonna want to get his bag. Terence Crawford gonna want to get his bag, because in the mind of the fighters and the hardcore boxing fans, it don't get no bigger than this. Like, this one of those fights where it don't get no, as a hardcore boxing fans, when we just talk about what takes place in the ring, it don't get more high quality or elite or bigger than this. Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, it don't get no bigger than this. Not talking about pay-per-view sales, not talking about popularity, just what in the ring, it don't get more high quality than this. And these fighters know that. Terence Crawford know that. Errol Spence know that. And they want to get paid what they weigh. They want to get paid that way, right? So Bob Arum is basically saying, like, well, look, these guys want their bread, but is the money really there for them to be able to get that? Now, again, we know this is a great fight, but fights of this magnitude heavily relies on pay-per-view for you to be able to pay these guys what they want to make a fight like this happen. The gate is going to be phenomenal. We already know that. Whether it's supposedly going to be in Vegas. Both fighters have agreed for it to be in Vegas. So it ain't no gripe about the location. It's a perfect location. It's Vegas. Where boxing puts on its biggest events, right? And you know the gate is going to be phenomenal. They can charge whatever they want for the physical ticket for you to get there and go see the fight in person. And it's going to be great. You're going to sell merchandise at the gate, at the venue. You're going to do numbers at the gate. But for this fight to make, as far as revenue, what it needs to make, for these guys to be satisfied, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, their handlers and the people that's all got their hands in this fight, it heavily relies on pay-per-view. That's just the model of boxing. That's just how they built their shit around. I think there's some things that they can do to kind of navigate through that and still be able to appease the fighters and then give the fans what they want to see. Sometimes, the fighters might have to take a small sacrifice, but then at the same time, should these guys have to sacrifice any part of what they feel that they worth to make this fight happen? I know that sounds selfish, but honestly, I don't think that they should. You know what I'm saying? But going back to the main topic, Bob Arum said, with this fight heavily relying on pay-per-view, the holdup is them trying to figure out how can we make this shit work, because the fans is still in the fight. All the casual fans that we need, that they need to draw in to be able to make this fight a real, make this fight happen and pay everybody what they want to get paid, is you want to have those pay-per-view numbers at a nice number. Realistically, this fight is probably going to do at best 600,000 pay-per-view buys, and that's on the high side in my opinion. Really, in a perfect world, this shit should do 1 million minimum, 1.5. But 1 million minimum. You know what I'm saying? On the high end, 2 to 2.5 million pay-per-view buys. That's how great of a fight that this is. But in a perfect world, I say at a minimum, it should do 1 million pay-per-view buys. Everybody gonna eat then. And the gate gonna be cold as fuck too. So the gate gonna be cold and the pay-per-view numbers cold at 1 million. Everybody getting a bag. But in today's society, in the current landscape of pay-per-view, everybody's still in fights. The piracy is out of control. You had Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, who put on some of the greatest heavyweight matches that we've seen in their 3-fight trilogy. That whole rivalry was phenomenal. The third fight was like, you couldn't even have capped that shit off. You couldn't have capped that shit off better than that. Outside of Deontay Wilder knocking Tyson Fury head the fuck off his shoulders. That's the only better way that shit could have ended. But just looking at the drama, the actual action in the ring, the fights, the build up to the fight, all the controversy. You know what I'm saying? Those 3 fights were amazing. And neither one of them cracked 1 million pay-per-view buys. They said that the first Deontay Wilder fight, the first Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight was the most streamed fight in history. Like, that shit, the illegal streams were outrageous. I'm talking about 3 to 5 million illegal streams. Probably even more than that. But the actual pay-per-view don't do 1 million? Think about all the money they missing out. The piracy is out of control. And ain't shit that they can do about it. You know what I'm saying? So the reason I gave you that example, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, because it don't matter the quality of the fight. Because you will get a great high-quality fight in a matchup like Wilder and Fury, or like a ERROL Spence and Terence Crawford, and these fans still in the fight. That's why I told you, I made multiple videos on this, because you motherfuckers claim that y'all want these fights, y'all beg and do all this shit talking, but then when it come down to it, your ass don't be buying the fight. You know what I'm saying? Your ass don't be buying the fight. And it ain't even always the casual fans. A lot of times, they the ones that's actually buying the fight. It be a lot of you so-called hardcore boxing fans who not buying the fights. You know what I'm saying? I told you motherfuckers that claim y'all Terence Crawford fans, y'all pop up out of nowhere when I make an ERROL Spence video. You know what I'm saying? I go live and I'm talking about ERROL Spence. Y'all pop up on the live and y'all be going crazy and acting wild and out of control. But then talking, all this hot shit about ERROL Spence and talking about how big of a fan you is of Terence Crawford, but you ain't buying his pay-per-views. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes for a lot of you hardcore boxing fans who claim y'all real fans, but y'all don't support the sport. Even when you do get a quality fight, you don't support it. There's enough hardcore boxing fans for one of those Wilder Fury fights to go 1 million pay-per-view buys, but you motherfuckers didn't support. So I understand why this shit taking so long. It's a huge fight. It's a very meaningful fight, and it's a lot of things that go into this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I understand why it's taking them a while to get it all together, because they like, shit, how we gonna make sure everybody get their bag? Because these motherfuckers that's claiming that they knocking down the door begging for this fight, them motherfuckers ain't finna buy the fight. A lot of you motherfuckers finna be streaming, bro. You know what I'm saying? But you claim you're a boxing fan, though. So I see where Bob Arum coming from with that shit. He not telling no lies. You feel me? I actually still think the fight gonna happen. I think somebody gonna make a concession. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna make a sacrifice to make that shit happen. I don't think it's gonna be the fighters. I don't think it should be the fighters. I think this is one of those situations where the big wigs gonna have to, there's gonna have to be an investment. They gonna get paid, but motherfuckers gonna have to, do something strange and, you know what I'm saying, and make this shit work. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm holding out faith. I just got a good feeling that this shit, that everything gonna go through like it's supposed to go through. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to speak on that. I thought Bob Arum brought up a great point. Because this is something that I've been talking to y'all about this for a minute. Like, bruh, y'all claim y'all want these fights, but then when we do get those meaningful fights, motherfuckers don't even be paying for them when they do put them on pay-per-view. You dig what I'm saying? But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Does Bob Arum have a point? You feel me? What y'all think about this, man? Y'all let me know. Contender regime, boxing, I holla at y'all boys, man.